Hello, my dudes, and welcome back to the Viking the Press Pass podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm David.
So, how's your week been?
Well, I had to work the evening shift tonight at Aloni and had a fucking customer being an asshole to me again. It's the same guy. Remember when I first started working there and he gave me the business about, not about closing on time?
Oh, okay.
Same guy, same situation. Came in.
I know your hours are posted on the door, but why you gotta close at that time, bro?
Pretty much.
Fucking
Pretty
idiot.
much. Actually, the situation was not the same, and I'll tell you why it was not the same. So last time I hadn't been working there long enough to fucking know who was regular and who wasn't. And he came in a little after 8. We were closed 9. And 9 o'clock I go to usher everybody out. He's like, hey man, I'm only halfway through my stick or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, sorry dude. We close at 9. And so he got all pissy about it. And so the owners were like, hey, so what happened or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And they were like, well, can you just kind of if it's less than an hour to go till we close, and someone comes to buy a cigar, they're hanging out, then, you just might want to give them hey, just let you know you got an hour left.
Uh-huh.
I was like, yeah, that's fair. So he comes in tonight. It is 8:01. We close at 9 p.m. I say to him, just to let you know, you have less than an hour to smoke. He's like, well, it's 8:01. And I'm like, right, and we close at 9. So you have less than an hour, a little less than an hour.
Yeah, 59 minutes to smoke this.
Yeah. He's like, what, so you're trying to tell me that I can't just kick back and enjoy my cigar? I'm like, no, I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you that you have to be done by 9 because we close at 9. And he's just like, well, I come in here to get hassled. I'm like, look, man, I don't make the hours,
Yeah.
Well, we always hang out, hang. I mean, you're not going to close right at 9. I'm like, 9 o'clock. He's like, well, you let people finish up their sticks. I was like, it's 8 o'clock now. You have an hour. If that influences what you would like to purchase, you want to get something that's a little bit shorter, I'm arming you with this information. He just got so fucking... Yeah, he kept saying that I was giving him a hard time. And I'm going to be I'm on the clock. I'm like, okay, well, you know what time our hours
It's all
are?
on you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. We close at 9.
It's
End of story.
I was even trying to be a little more than that. I was like, well, you're free to talk to the owners and see if they want to extend the hours, but that's not really
you can write to them.
It's not really my decision, right? And he just got all fucking pissed, and he was like, I'm not even gonna stay. You got cigars, and then the person behind him was like, hey man, you're not even gonna have time to smoke that, right? I'm out of here. And I was like, okay. He's like, well, I'm gonna talk to the owners. And I was like, you're free to do that, have a good night, right? It's geez, what the fuck? Same guy.
And he kept pulling the same bullshit excuses, they always let us smoke this late. He's like, nope, I've been here too long. I don't do that shit.
I don't normally work Saturday nights.
Okay.
And the guy that normally works Saturday nights, I bet probably does stay late. Just like Leon usually stays late on Fridays and Saturdays.
He's here to party.
Yeah, he is there to party. But yeah, I was talking with, I was telling Diana about this. She's like, man, I can't believe I was such a jerk to you. I'm like, it's kind of expected. He's just on the shit list now. And she's like, what does that mean? I'm like, it doesn't really mean anything, right? It just means that I just don't try to be nice to me anymore because now I don't like you.
Yeah.
Before, I could just kind of hand wave it away like you didn't know me. I was a fucking new guy, whatever, right? But no, that's you got one and then you fucking fucked it up and now you're just just stay away from me now. It's the same thing with that fucking Louis guy.
Yeah.
Right? It's gonna be a shithead to me on several occasions.
That's a little bitch move, though.
Yeah, and it was yeah.
Oh, Chris, he's mean to me.
He's looking at me.
Do something about it, okay?
He's looking.
I don't want to talk to him, but you have to do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I'm a customer.
It's exactly why I don't like that guy. He's always doing this, and he's always doing that, and it was the same thing. I was talking with Diana. I was like, it was funny because I brought up Frank, the rep Frank, and I was like, you know what,
Our favorite rep.
I was like, well, I will say this about Frank. At least when he thought that I had some problem with me, him, he just confronted me with it and talked to me about it because that's what Chris said, the other customer, Louis, should do. was like, look, man, if like Dave has a problem with you, like I'm sure, like you could just talk to him, and if he does have a problem with you, like I guarantee you, he'll tell you, like just to your face that he's got a problem with you. But you don't seem to want to do that, so I don't know why this involves me at all.
Yeah.
And so I was saying the same thing. I was like, well, at least Frank like had the, for lack of a better word, balls to just say like, hey man, I got a problem with you, or I think you have a problem with me, right? And but it was the same fallacious reasoning. It was like, well, the attitude that I'm like supposed to like, sell his cigars for him, and I'm like, look, that's not my job, dude. Like that's not my job, is to not sell your shit. It's to just do these other things, right? Like to run the shop.
I don't get kickbacks from your company, do I?
Precisely. And then he was like, well, that's a pretty unique attitude among people that I've worked with. And
He said that?
in those, and I don't know if it, I think he used the word, that's a unique attitude.
What?
Or something to that effect. And I was like, that's not an argument any more than Triple B lets us stay late is an argument. Like that's just saying other people do things differently than me, and you think that I should do what they do because
our teacher let us stay and play forever.
Right. Oh, you like that cigar? I don't really like that cigar, but it's so popular.
Yeah.
So?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's the best selling cigar of all time. How dare you?
Speaking of which, why don't we? You're getting underway already with the Picardo, Pichaduro Maduro. And I'm going to spark this bad boy up. And I'm trying to remember here. I had it's the, oh God, Arapiraca Brazilian Maduro wrapper and Nicaraguan binder and filler from Ace Prime. And who'd you say the other company was?
Ace Prime and Crown Heads?
Crowned Heads, which it should be Crown Heads, but I think it is actually Crowned Heads. See what we got. Anyway.
Ugh, gross.
Anyway, what's new with you?
So trudging along, learning how to play chess.
Yeah.
Kind of just pick one opening and one opening for black. Pick the
Sicilian
Rui
defense.
Lopez and the Sicilian.
Rui Lopez and Sicilian.
So just been reading that. I told you. What?
It tastes like buttered cornbread or something.
Oh, really? I'm getting like the Hershey's like unsweetened cocoa with a lot of leather to it. It's like nice and rounded off.
No, I mean I get a little bit of the cocoa. Yeah, I really haven't gotten any leather yet, but no, it tastes like buttery and kind of.
I get that in the background.
Cornmealy. It's actually not like I would have thought like for a Maduro that it was going to kind of just kick hard right up front, but it's really.
It kind of reminds me of like the Davidoff Maduros.
Yeah, you're a little more into it, so yeah, maybe it stays subtle like that.
It's nice and subtle. I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Rui Lopez and Sicilian defense for black, and what are your openings for white? Indian attack. Learn the Indian.
No.
Yeah, learn the Indian. Dude.
Okay. Well, I've just been like, okay, I picked this. I'm gonna learn it. I've been just reading the kind of like the variations. I haven't actually gone and used all that stuff on playing the computer or anything like that. So I'm just learning the opening position.
I think you're gonna get good at chess pretty quickly.
Why do you think that?
Just knowing how your brain works.
Oh.
And like.
But like I'm watching other like the one YouTube channel I've been watching a lot is Gotham Chess. He's an international master, and he plays a lot online. I think that's the whole thing with COVID. In effect, a lot of chess players are streaming a lot now. Yeah. And when they're playing games or explaining stuff, it's like, oh, look that was a brilliant move. Like, wait, you just moved the pawn in the corner. I don't understand why that is.
Because all the pieces matter, man.
I understand that, but it's like, I think I just feel stupid. Like, I don't see anything. Oh, yeah, there's mate in 4. Can't you see it? Like, here. And here.
Well,
They're doing those puzzles, too.
Because it's a lot like pool. You first learned how to hit shots, and now that you're better, you can see a run together in your head, right? Like you go like, okay, this, then this, then this, and okay, like you can even see like 4 or 5 balls down the line. That one's going to be the fucking one that's a trouble to get a leave on. Like it's going to be hard. And sometimes it'll even fucking distract you, right? Like you'll be like, fuck, I'm going to have to deal with that. And like you're worried, like all these are gimme shots. And sometimes you'll just shank those gimme shots. And so but yeah, it's the same thing. Like you start to see, like you see a component and a component and a component, and you see a leave, and then you start to see them like as a web of like interconnected things. And it's the same thing with chess.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, what I've been doing playing the computer is that I just do the openings that I know, and then the computer does its thing. And then when I get into the middle game, it's just me just like eating up all the pieces, and like I'll just get the fucking king in the corner and fuck him up.
Yeah.
And apparently, that's like a very common tactic, is just eat all the pieces, not set anything up, and just fucking go for it.
Well, I think because there takes a certain degree of sophistication in the middle game to understand like how swaps work and how they, what's worth swapping at what point for what position on the board. And that is
when to pull out the queen.
That's probably the trickiest part of the game, is like learning when and where to swap. And because like the openings in itself, they kind of it already like sets itself up. So there's a lot of like pinning and forking already in those setups. So it's just a matter of like, what do I want to swap now? Yeah.
And where do I want to open up the lanes for like the rooks to get through? Because I like to connect the rooks together. Because I think it feels like it's like a bulldozer that just fucks everything up in its way.
You've learned castling already, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I say that's usually pretty early. But I've played players like that gal that I play that I was like I dated in high school or whatever. Like she's pretty solid at chess, man. I mean, for somebody that doesn't play, like she's not like a chess player. Like she knows how to play, and she's just kind of smart. And so she kind of like, I mean, like if she played just like a regular chess player, somebody who like doesn't play a bunch and hasn't been playing for years, she would probably kill them. And like I'm kind of envious for how like seemingly almost naturally talented she is. I was like, God, like I played chess for like probably 5 or 6 years before I got as good as you are, like basically with just like, oh, I don't know, I just move the pieces around and see what makes sense.
It's kind of natural.
Yeah. Yeah, like if she put in the time and energy, and I bet you anything that, since her and I don't really play much these days, but we've played probably 20 or 30 games, and I bet you anything that she's gotten better since then. It certainly seems like it. But yeah, like she didn't know how to castle. She's like, how do you do that rook swappy thing? And I'm like, castling? And she's like, yeah, how do you do that? I'm like,
it's like the first couple things you learn, right?
Yeah, it's just like it's embedded in how the pieces move, right? Or how all the basic pieces move, and then you learn. I mean, there's really
this is a castle. You don't want your king in the middle,
right? I mean, if you really think about it, there's 5. If you're not like making each individual piece and how it moves its own rule, there are really only 5 rules to chess, right? How the pieces move, how you set up the board, right? White in the corner and the pieces and where they go. If you're in check, you have to move out of check. You can't move through check.
Well, the tricky one's en passant.
And
that's because like that's not intuitive. Like
and
I don't see it come up very often.
It never comes up.
Yeah, but it's a thing.
Good. Yeah, it's technically a rule, the en passant rule, but it doesn't. I never do it. And probably more tellingly, the computer will never do it.
Oh, here's another thing. It was I guess on chess.com, they have Beth Harmon as a player, so you can play her at different ages. And the common thing I noticed with a lot of people, like they're like a 2700 or something like that, and they play the computer at the same level or a little bit higher, is that during the middle game, they're like, oh, that's an inaccuracy. The computer just fucked up right here. But later in the end game, it's like, oh, fuck, this thing's fucking trapped now. Just fucking trap me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they just get fucked up. It's like, that's a bullshit move. I don't know why I did that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the same argument when Kasparov played Deep Blue. He said the same thing. That it was like the computer is doing things that like people would do, not that a computer does. Like it has too much creativity. It's like, yeah, there is no, you just think it's creativity. It's really not. It's like, what's the best move? Computer knows. Computer, best human player, 24, 25, 2600. Best chess computer engine, 3400 ELO.
Yeah.
Not even fucking
I'm
close.
playing 3D chess.
Right. It's literally like that computer is in order is like as much better than a grandmaster, the best grandmaster ever, as a grandmaster is to like you.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like, yep, that's about the
Has
difference.
Magnus ever played like the top computer or top engine?
I'm sure he has. He has the highest ELO on file.
That guy has a crazy like photographic memory.
Yeah.
They were doing this whole thing of like, oh, do you remember? Like, try to figure out what game this is from. It's going through all the famous chess things. Like, oh yeah, I played this when I was a kid against this one thing during the junior tournament, junior championship.
Yeah.
And they pulled the one out of Harry Potter. And it's like, you gotta give me a hint here, and I don't know what this is. It's like,
They play chess in Harry Potter?
Huh? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And the guy was like, it's from a fictional piece. It's like, oh, it's from Harry Potter, because you play the Slav here, and they open up here. It's like, oh, you remember everything.
Well, yeah. His brain just traps everything. Mm-hmm. It would be literally like if you just had a book of everything you'd ever seen, and like you just could go and open the book and look in it and go, yeah. That's why it's like you can just, what's on page 97 of the B Encyclopedia Britannica, 5th paragraph, 4th sentence, what's the first word in that sentence? And they could just tell you, because it's just like literally like they're just reading it out of the book. Yeah, that's why it's just,
it's one thing to memorize it, but to like analyze it in a way where like, well, there's an inaccuracy here, he could have done that, doing that, you know. That's a talent in itself.
The thing is, though, is I think that really is a because I mean that's all a computer does.
Yeah,
it just memorizes tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff, and it just sees what gets the best result over 20 quadrillion iterations or whatever. And if you had a photographic memory, you could just study like every chess game in history, and you would just know how things play out. And eventually, you would just know that this pawn here means better result than other pawn over here, and so it's like. Yeah, it's not surprising that the best person or the highest rated chess player ever has a photographic memory. That's not, or what do we call it? Idyllic memory, right? It's a technical phrase for it. It's not. They don't use the phrase photographic, right? It's like, okay, that's weird, but yeah, it's not surprising to me. But yeah, it's like the computer is an order of magnitude better than that, and so you just can't see the things that it sees. It doesn't know. You're wrong. It's like, no, I am correct.
No.
Correct.
So I'm just trudging through that stuff. So I just have to sit down and kind of just go through the moves a little bit with the openings. It's been fun. Just kind of.
Yeah, the beginning of chess is fun.
Yeah. But you see like grandmasters or like masters in general, it's like, Jesus Christ, this is your job like 24/7. Do you just think about this stuff?
You'll probably, I would say probably in a year, you'll be up to probably about a 1,500, maybe even faster for you. Because like I said, I just know a little bit about how your brain works with like pool and martial arts and shit. And with pool, at least there is some physical skill set involved. You know, you have to learn how to hold the cue, and you have to learn how to bridge, and you have to learn how to like get cue ball control. There's none of that in chess. It's all just patterns and structure and like learning how everything fits together.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to troubleshoot when you did something wrong. It's not like, what did I do on that? And, you know, if someone you're playing with like plays a little bit, they're like, oh, actually you stood up or you put a little more English on the ball than you thought. But like if you're just shooting alone, you can't figure that shit out. But with chess, you can. You can just be like, oh, I see what I did wrong. Like rewind 20 moves. And so like I used to do that too. Like I'd play a game out against the computer.
Like blunder, fuck you. No, it's not.
And I'd like get to the end of a game. And I'd be like, okay, I'd rewind the game and see where I went wrong. And then I'd start the game from that point.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's where I went wrong. What would have been a better move here? And then play the game out again. And depending on what you set the computer at. I mean, like when I first started playing chess, like I could, you know, the chess computer or whatever that I had, like I could beat it on the hard setting. But you know, that wasn't like the top chess engine in the world at the time because they didn't have them available on computers and phones. Like the top one was like, you know, fucking Deep Blue or whatever. Like you had to go like play it. It wasn't just like a little machine you had. And so it was like
go into this room, play this machine.
Exactly. And so, but yeah, it takes, that's the thing that sucks about it is like you get up to about a 1500 probably fairly quickly.
Yeah, this thing about chess, the ceiling's so high, right? And if you're super competitive, it's just you're just staring into the abyss, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is why I quit playing chess on a regular basis, because from the time it took me, it's the same thing with pool. Like, you're probably going to stay about as good at pool as you are now for a little bit, and unless you start putting in more hours. I've been at about the same talent level for about 10 years now, and I just kind of hang out there. And if I want to get better, it just requires a lot more time in at the pool hall and much more thoughtfulness about what I'm doing. And it's the same thing with chess. I just got good to a certain point, and it was like, unless some external thing forces you to get better, like playing Adam forced me to get better. I haven't played him in a while, but I'm probably better now than I ever have been.
What's it like for that guy? He's playing these fucking plebes.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can play with me. Yeah, we'll fucking show you something.
Well, I didn't play with him for a while, and I was like, he hasn't played in a while, and I've been playing a lot. Like, maybe he just forgot how good he is. Nope.
It's like a guy training, like, it's like a martial arts context. It's like guy's training every day, fucking hitting the bag, working out, doing road work. Comes up and meets this guy, hasn't like been on the mat for like a year. It's like, all right, let's go at it. Fucking head kicks you. Well, it's pretty cool.
That's what I imagine it would be like if you, like, say you were an up and coming like an amateur, and then like you'd been training really hard and getting really good, and you were in like the peak, and you just like, we're gonna fight Anderson Silva or someone.
The pro comes off the couch like, yeah, let's go. Let's go light, right? You know, I'm trying to work out too. Bam,
once you get to a certain level, man, I remember my uncle telling me, so my uncle and I used to shoot over at his buddy Chris Danick's house, the guy that had the triple shim tables. It's a triple shim table. And he's really fucking good. Like, he's like what you would call a high 7 in leagues. Like, a 7 is like as high as it goes. But really, if it went up to like 10 or 15, he'd probably be like a 10 or 11, right? Like, he's really fucking good. And he would just like, he'd play me or Kurt, and like when we were like at the height of how good we were, and he would just mop the floor with us like every fucking game. You'd just like, you play racks of 9-ball with him, and it'd be like run a rack, run a rack, run a rack, miss a shot. And then if you don't run out the rack, then he runs the rack out, and then run a rack, run a rack, run a rack, miss a shot. So he basically missed like one shot every 3 or 4 racks of 9-ball. Which is pretty fucking good. And he'd just like be like, yeah, well, you know, my dad doesn't even play anymore. Like, my dad hasn't played pool in probably like 10 or 15 years. But when he comes over or like hangs out or whatever, like we'll play on the table or whatever, and he'll beat me as bad as I beat you. And I play on this table every day.
Yeah.
And he hasn't played in like 15 years. He just fucking mop the floor with me all day long. It's like, you can't even conceive of someone that's that fucking good at pool. And it's the same thing with chess. It's just like, there's some players out there you just can't even imagine how fucking good they are. And sometimes, yeah, like I play with Adam sometimes, and I'd be playing really well, and he just like has this tone, like, good job, kid. It's like, oh no, you played everything. You played perfectly. You played perfectly. And it was just like perfect. Like, and he has this way of saying that something that you did is textbook, like in almost a derisive way. I don't think he means it that way, but it just sounds like it was predictable.
Yeah.
It's like a textbook, you know. It's like just really. It's like, yeah, you know, I had trouble finding an in. I was like, yeah, but you did find an in. So, no, your defense is set up perfectly. If it were perfect, I would have won.
Yeah.
It's like, so but I can't, like, several times I've gotten down to games with him where I just was like, he just had one more pawn than me, and just one more pawn, one square farther down the board than I did. And that was the difference in the game. And I'm like, I don't know how to whittle away at that margin, right? Like, my brain can't process that much information. I just give up. And so it's like, yeah, but yeah, the beginning's fun. You get pretty good pretty quick, and then, you know, you start playing people, and then you start getting better, and you start slapping people around a little bit, and then you get to that next level, and then people start slapping you around a bit, and then you get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better by small increments, and then you just kind of stall out because you're not going to be a grandmaster, but it's still fun.
Yeah, I don't know how it is to be, like, if you're sitting there at like a master level, it's like, fuck, I can't really get past that hump of being a grandmaster.
Yeah.
Because you got to play other grandmasters to even get that rating, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
because your rating won't improve once you hit the top of some whatever scale you're in. Your rating won't improve unless you play players that are better than you, because the attitude is that if you're a 2400 or 2200, whatever the cutoff for Grandmaster is, that the assumption is that you should always beat players that are lower than you.
Yeah.
And so you can't improve your rating by beating players lower than you. Or like because you should always do that. You should always.
Yeah, I was watching a match with who's the U.S. champ now, or in 2019, Hikaru.
Yeah, he's an Asian guy, I think.
Yeah,
he's American.
Yeah. So he was playing the Beth Harmon, like it was the 2700.
Yeah.
Rated one, the one with the white outfit. That was like the avatar.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, yeah, I beat it pretty easily. It's not that hard, really. It's like, you're a fucking grandmaster, dude. It's like, of course you're not gonna lose to this thing. Or he drawed a couple times with it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it was a pretty easy match right there. Like, fuck you.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is it's like there's no mystery left when you're that good. You just know how the game will play out.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. The reason why I like watching those live matches is that you have like this added layer to it where they could kind of show you where the moves are going.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that their minds think is like, hey, get it here, capture here, and here. 5? Yeah. I'll probably get mate in 5.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, moving on. We're listening to another book, The Biggest Bluff. It's about this psychologist, PhD psychologist that actually wrote the same book, The Confidence Game. And she wanted to apply her field of work into the game of poker. So Eric Seidel, the guy that lost to Johnny Chan in that famous clip, fucking Johnny Chan.
Yeah. Seidel's a damn good poker player.
Oh, he's great.
I don't know if he's as good as Johnny Chan, but who the fuck is as good as Johnny Chan?
It's a really good read for someone that knows how to play poker, knows the rules of poker, because it's more about tournament play, where there's a lot of strategies and a lot of strategies that I regularly don't use because I like more cash games. Mm-hmm. And the tournaments that we play is kind of like bullshit, kind of a round of what? A table of 8, and that's it. So you can't really apply those rules or those. Yeah, you can't really apply those rules to yourself
because there's no field really. It's just
the field's not big enough, and plus the blinds never progress high enough.
Yeah.
To move in those things.
We should do that this week. I kept meaning to like organize. Well, Bailey said that he was kind of out a little bit. Like I definitely do want to try to get like a poker game together. I fucking miss playing poker, even if it's just for $10, $15.
Now this thing is giving me the itch to get a bankroll started and start playing. Yeah. So it's a really good read because a lot of, like I said, the strategies of it I've never heard of. A lot of the math that's like more prevalent now than it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. When
I really stopped playing. Oh, excuse me. And it'd be kind of interesting to see if someone that's not into poker would enjoy this book.
Yeah, that's I never have a good gauge about I mean, some things like the Queen's Gambit, for instance, is good. It's like, I don't think you have to be into chess to enjoy the show. Obviously, they wouldn't have made a fucking show that was just for people that like chess because there just aren't enough of us. And but yeah, stuff like that, like it's kind of has like this niche, like esoteric topic matter. But you never know. I mean, sometimes, man, like King of Kong, like retro gaming. Are you into retro gaming? Mm-hmm. I'm not. No, like, but the fucking movie is dope.
Yeah.
The movie got no love. Like, really, it had no like critical acclaim. Wasn't nominated for any major awards or anything the year it came out.
I wonder if there was like another documentary at the time that like just stole the show.
What's better than that? Oh. I literally can't think of any documentaries that are better than that documentary. I mean, there are some that are maybe as good. Thin Blue Line, a couple of others, but not better than.
Yeah. But yeah, this gal, I think she won a couple tournaments, and I think
what do women know about poker? They don't know fucking anything.
I think she won like around $300,000 in her poker career so far. So that's pretty good. Yeah, there's some stuff that were like all the science of the tell goes into a lot of the sunk fallacy cost, gambler's mentality,
Sunk cost fallacy. Yeah.
hot hands, and the inability of people to think of like, well, Chris Davis. Remember we had that. Well, you guys were having that discussion about having sets coming in,
Yeah.
and the odds of those things coming up again.
Yeah.
But you don't have a big enough sample size to say this set is coming because I know from these numbers it should happen.
Yeah.
It's like the coin flip thing. It's always 50-50 in the beginning.
Yeah, because
it's always 50-50 when you flip it.
He failed to realize the distinction that he's like, you're saying, what's the probability that I'll get a 6 on any given die roll is not the same as asking the question of what's the probability I will roll 5 6s in a row.
Yeah.
Those are just completely different statistical questions. And so he just wasn't understanding the difference between those like things in a statistical sampling. And so it was kind of mucking up our whole like the linear progression of our conversation because I just wasn't explaining it well enough, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of that's what makes poker so interesting is that there's that element of it to it, the strategy.
Yeah, poker's the game where you could lose with the best hand and win with the worst hand.
Yeah, it's
fascinating.
Reading people,
yeah,
reading the table, strategy at like a big table, small table, or in a tournament. But then you also have like the math aspect to it, which is just raw stats, and it's so fun to see. Like, for me, the best tables like at a pro level are when you have guys kind of all over like different varying of those skill sets. Like if you were going to gauge, like it had like in a video game or something, they had different stats for, you'd have like Negreanu, who is like super high on fucking like reading people and reading cards. Like he's
the card and the suit when it comes out, like whatever it comes out in the turn or the river.
Well, there's compilations of him like guessing shit. Like that's how much he does it. So he's like super high on that. And then you have like Chris Ferguson, who's like fucking math, right? Like he knows all the fucking math for all the stats of everything, and his play style is very different accordingly to that. He doesn't concern himself with like what maybe you have so much as like just like what
am I drawing to?
Right, what am I drawing to? Like what's the likelihood of X and X other likelihoods versus like how many cards are on the table, and they're just completely different skill sets. They're different sides of your brain, and so it makes it super. That's why it's never boring playing poker. It's just, always something to latch onto and keep your interest. And really it's just, that's why it's always funny to me that people watching poker. I don't think people that don't play poker don't like to watch poker because it just looks like people just sitting at a table not doing anything. Like, oh my god, he did that! Can you believe it?
It's the drama of getting like setting up traps or finding out who's getting trapped or getting someone off a hot hand. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
It's only because you get like a very small window of what the action is, but like the whole game's like a 10-hour thing. You're just getting small slices of what it is because you don't know why the guy called. It's like any other person would be like, yeah, I would definitely not call that. But it's like the information he got with playing with the same person for like 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
He saw something and then he read it wrong.
Exactly. That's a commonality, right? Like most people are like, I would never do that. And like usually my thing is like, why would he do that? Like it's not like being facetious. It's like legitimately like why what did I not see that led a player of that caliber to make a move that like when you isolate the hand looks almost like a blunder-headed move.
Yeah.
Or like he's mad or he's hot-headed about something. It's like, most poker players don't get that way.
Or he just was on tilt for one hand and then that just cascaded into that play.
Yeah.
That always happens all the time. But yeah, the one that's the fascinating thing I was reading on or listening to that was like the poker face thing. It's that one doesn't really give you too much information. It's the hands, really, that kind of gives off a lot of the tells, like shaky hands or anything like that. People like when they see their cards, they kind of just like hide their chips, or they just kind of just get their chips ready. You're like, oh, this guy has something in here.
Yeah, it's usually what I do is I watch what people do with their stack. Mm-hmm. Like that's,
or they look at the whole cards and they're just like,
yeah.
Or they repeatedly looking at it is like, okay, he has like a same color. It's like either hearts or diamonds, and they're trying to remember what the cards are, right?
What the suit is, yeah,
what the suits are. Because if they were like suited and booted, you wouldn't need to memorize that shit,
right? You don't ever have to look at pocket aces twice.
Yeah,
burns into your brain the second you see it. You're,
oh fuck.
Yeah, it's still just kind of staying pretty mellow.
Yeah,
I'm getting like a lot of like like plum or raisin or something now.
I think my claw's messing it up.
Excuse me. No, I don't know. I'm getting. Yeah, it's like it's still kind of like buttery, but it's got like a little bit of spice and like kind of raisiny. Yeah, like raisin, plum, fruity kind of flavor to it. It's tasty.
Moving on. Went hiking in the bear for the first time. That was fun. Really fun.
I saw a picture on the gram. I was like, where's this motherfucker? He's going to be back for podcast tonight. Where'd you go? Who you go with? You go by yourself?
Yeah. Oh. Because I was like, just bored. I was like, let's go hiking. Never been hiking around here. Only time I went hiking was in Hawaii. And the payoff wasn't very good because it was fucking cloudy. I couldn't see shit. So went up to Alum Rock here in San Jose. And it was rated as easy. I was climbing that motherfucker, and I was like, this is fucking easy? What the fuck? I was like dying, like, oh, fuck, I need to rest. And come to find out, when I got towards the bottom of the trail, I missed the part where it was like another trail in there. I was like, oh, that was the fucking entrance. I went up to the like quicker way up to the summit.
I got you.
So
what's that rated at? Like moderate?
It was probably a moderate. Oh. Yeah, and it was a lot shorter because it was a shortcut up. Because it was like, I think they said it was like a 2.5 mile hike, but this one seemed a lot shorter. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I might try it again.
But... Depends on the incline, right?
Yeah.
So you can probably walk 2.5 miles in like less than an hour, I would think. So I guess it depends on what the incline is, how difficult it is. But like, I don't know how long it'd take you to hike to the summit.
It took about, because I got not lost. I hit some dead ends, so I had to backtrack. So it took me about 45 minutes to get up there.
Oh, so you were going a pretty good clip then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, it's like a fucking meathead move where like I'm tired. It's like, you gotta fucking push, bro, push.
You gotta pace yourself. That's what a hike is.
Yeah.
Pacing yourself. 45 minutes is pretty quick to go through.
It was probably less than that. It was probably like a mile and a half.
Oh, you said the long trail is probably like 2.5
miles. 2.5, 3, yeah. But I was looking at some other trails around here. It was like a 6-hour hike. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
I can't do a 6-hour walk on flat fucking grass.
Yeah. Like... I don't know how that is, but I might try that one day, but I'm probably going to visit another trail sometime next week.
Is it rated for, like, is the time round trip, like, up and down?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Because 6 hours like that, how could you even get through that in a day if it's 6 hours one way? Fuck that.
I don't know if there's like a shortcut down. I don't know. I don't know how those things work. First time.
Well, you're on top of a mountain. There's always a shortcut down.
Oh, yeah. There's always a shortcut
down.
Like
a shortcut down from the top of a skyscraper.
But the freaky thing is when I got to the summit of Alum Rock, there's like fucking houses next to there. It's like, what fucking psycho builds a fucking house on top of this place? Assholes.
People that, want to view.
Oh, shit on these guys. Fuck these guys.
Oh, this... Here's a question that I didn't have. I was aware of, but then this is architecture related, not hiking related.
No.
But so I recently started talking to this old friend of mine, Megan, who lives in Ypsilanti, and Ypsilanti's just outside Ann Arbor. It's it's like basically like conjoined. It's like they bump right up against each other. So like a lot of people that live in Ypsi will just say they live in Ann Arbor, but it's like Ypsi is kind of like ghetto Ann Arbor. Like it's like Kmart Ann Arbor. Because it's less expensive to live there. It's a little more ratchet.
It's like when you explain where you live, it's like, I live in the Bay Area, San Jose. It's like, oh, like near San Francisco. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll say that.
That's why I like living in San Jose now, because I don't have to say I live in Santa Clara or Sunnyvale. And people go like, where's that? I'm like, it's outside San Jose. Mm-hmm. Same thing.
Yeah.
Only those places are actually nicer. Ypsi is kind of not as nice. So in this case, the more well-known place is actually nicer. Ann Arbor is nicer than Ypsi, whereas in San Jose, Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, it's like the lesser-known place is nicer.
Mm-hmm.
But so I was talking with her. We were video chatting for a bit, and she said something about she's getting ready to move. So I was like, man, you're fucking, what's up with your apartment? Like, you're a lady. Your apartment looks like a fucking bachelor lives there. The blinds are all fucking broken. And there's like nothing.
There's like socks on the floor.
It was just like, she was like, I'm getting ready to move. I'm moving into a friend's basement. And I was like, people don't have basements in California. And she's like, is that because of like earthquakes and stuff? And I was like, oh, I never thought about it. Maybe it actually is. And she's like, yeah, it seems like if you just had an earthquake, it would all just implode into a hole.
Fucked.
You implode into a fucking hole in the ground and you'd be done. And it was like, is that why people don't have basements here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just like, it was like an observation that I made, but I never actually thought about why they wouldn't have basements.
Yeah, the only people I
It's
know.
like a cultural thing, cultural basementism or something.
Yeah, I think that's why the whole garage thing, like, we don't put our cars in the garage here.
Oh,
It's like a storage room because we don't have basements.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that actually store their cars in their garage. At all.
I mean, that's not uncommon in the Midwest either, though, people. Because if you have a garage, you probably have a driveway. You just park your car in the driveway and put your shit in the garage. Like, stuff, whatever. Make it into a man cave, or like my old house, we had a heavy bag and a speed bag in there. I miss having a heavy bag in the garage. That was good times.
Oh, yeah. Who took your heavy bag?
Well, it was Marcos's.
Oh.
I think I like split the cost with him, and I had to fucking put it together too. He's like, oh, sat in there for like 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, you're gonna put that together? And he's like, yeah, I was gonna get it. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna fucking put it together so I can use it.
I was gonna do it.
Yeah, I was gonna. It's like, yeah. She's like, yeah. And then I put together, it was hella tight. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like a fucking hour.
It's mine now. I own this.
I am father now. But yeah, so I've been talking with her. That's interesting. We haven't talked in like, I don't know, probably
Turning into a Zoomer now.
10, 12 years.
Regular
like
Zoomer.
How dare you? I use Google. I actually have never used Zoom for a video chat.
Well, you're doing one-on-one, so you wouldn't use Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. My old lady's been cooking. That's nice. I'm cooking less. Although I fucked up, man, because, I get Butcher Box in the mail, right?
Yeah.
So
This episode has brought to you by Butcher Box.
This episode brought to you by Butcher Box.
Use the code Mikey in the Press Pass for 50% off.
False advertising.
What? Oh, yeah. We're not sponsored.
The
Fuck.
Butcher Box is going to sue us. But
They charge you more when you put that code
oh,
in.
what?
Oh, God. Fucking what? 200%.
Hey, I've been had. So I get the Butcher Box, and it told me like a couple weeks ago, like, your next Butcher Box is scheduled to bill May 14. Okay. I still had a decent amount of meat because I haven't been cooking that much, and Diana's been cooking now. And so I was like, yeah, probably. And I now get like the double-sized box because I get it like once a quarter instead of once a month. So I just got like once a quarter, double-sized the box. And so I get a notification like, hey, your Butcher Box is billed. It'll be on the way in the next few days, like yesterday. And I'm like, what? No, it's supposed to have like another week or two. And no, so now I have like another double-sized box coming. I don't know that I'm going to be able to fit it in my freezer. So you might have some meat coming your way. But that's also new. My uncle sent me, I guess, like a housewarming gift. I got a sous vide machine now.
All right.
I didn't talk about it last week, but it was new last week.
I've only been sous videing.
I've only sous vide salmon so far, because the way our schedules work out is like Diana's been cooking, so she cooks like twice a week. She cooked tonight, Italian family dinner. It's pretty fucking good, dude.
All right.
Yeah. It was like these broiled meatballs with like a little bit of mozzarella on top and some basil, and then like this cheese tortellini with like toasted ciabatta, like buttered ciabatta, and like roasted lemon green beans or something. It's pretty good. And so she's been cooking now, and so it's like between that and then like, on the days that our schedules don't match up or whatever, I'm like cooking like once or twice a week. And so I've been going through the butcher box, so now we're gonna have a fucking ton of meat. But I cooked salmon in the sous vide machine just because I was like, I didn't really care if I fucked it up because I don't really care about salmon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna do up some, probably do up some sirloins in it and see how that goes. Although the sirloins are really thin, so I'm kind of worried it'll get.
No, should be okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I guess it just sits at a constant temperature, right?
Yeah, you just probably won't get like the perfectly like pink interior. Just because when you sear it, it'll just heat up faster.
Yeah. I'm told you can just sear it with like a blowtorch.
Yeah. There's going to be an off taste from what I've read.
Yeah, because it kind of imparts some of the, like, whatever gas you're using, right? I wouldn't want to do that.
We have a cast iron skillet, so that's perfect.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do that, and you can come over. And I got ribeyes. You can come over and have ribeyes.
Oh, ribeyes.
I've never had ribeye in a sous vide machine before.
Should be good.
Yeah. But yeah, so I got to figure out the kind of adjust the times and shit because everything, all the recipes on Anova or whatever it's called, they're all for like, like for 16 to 18 ounce ribeyes. I'm like, well, Butcher Box doesn't have ribeyes are like 12 or 13 ounces or whatever. They're like normal human sized ribeyes. The
temperature should be the same. It's just the cook time.
Yeah.
That's what's the variation on it.
Right. You probably just reduce it by like 25%, I would guess.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it's 12 ounces as opposed to 16 ounces, then that reduction is about a 25% reduction. So it seems like the time would be reduced by about 25%. I'm just logicking it, I think. But
a good place to go is like chefsteps.com. They have a lot of sous vide recipes there. Yeah, that's one place I always go to.
But yeah. You should come over and have ribeye some night.
All right.
Whatever night you're available. Be good times. Make some steaks. Good times. Yeah, I haven't really played around with it much yet, but I got it now, so that's cool. One of those things that I got, like, I'll probably like use a little bit for a while, like the deep fryer. I went fucking ape shit with the deep fryer when I first got it, and I haven't even used it since we've been in the new place yet.
Should put what are those fucking things called? Pizza bites? What?
Bagel bites?
Not the bagel bites. The other one. The Totino's.
Pizza rolls?
Pizza rolls.
In the deep fryer?
No, the sous vide.
Well, that would be nasty. Why would that work?
I don't know. Just sous vide everything.
No, from what I understand, the way to cook pizza rolls is an air fryer.
Yeah, that's the whole rage now.
It's the supreme way to cook an air fryer because my buddy Matt got one. He's like, I have an air fryer now. I was like, do you eat pizza rolls in it yet? He's like, why didn't it occur to me that I could eat fucking pizza rolls in this thing? And he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to try it tonight. I'll report back. And then he just texted me. He's like, this is pretty fucking dope. I was like, all right, that's an endorsement. This is pretty dope. I was like, yeah. I was like, all right, fuck. I don't need another kitchen control, especially because I would only pretty much get it to make pizza rolls. It would just be a pizza roll maker.
Yeah.
The garlic press of my kitchen.
Wow, you got to deep fry them, motherfucker.
I feel like they'll just be too greasy or there'll be such a small margin of where you could they'll just explode and spill everything out.
Oh.
Well, that would suck. It would waste a bunch of pizza rolls and a bunch of, how much oil goes in that fucking deep fryer? And if you muck it up with pizza rolls, you just have to dump it all out.
It's infused oil now.
It's infused oil. No, because the bits of the fucking pizza roll should get burnt in the oil and smoke up the house and then set off the... My smoke alarm actually says fire to me. Fire, warning, fire, beep, beep, fire,
that's interesting.
fire. I'm like, what? Jesus. So...
Who broke into my house?
Yeah. Check.
Checkmate.
Anyway, so yeah.
Your life is about to be checkmated.
Oh, Deep Blue. Not everything can be solved with chess.
And I finished up The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got super woke at the end. I was like, oh, okay. That's a weird turn.
We're not so different after all, brother. Did you ever see that movie Green Book?
No.
God, that movie's so insufferably fucking woke.
I'm surprised you actually watched it.
It was on at the shop one day when I was working.
Oh, okay.
It was like,
we're not so different, me and you.
Well, it has Viggo in it. I like Viggo.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, it's got Viggo Mortensen. And it's got the guy that was in season 3 of True Detective, whose name I never fucking remember.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, I never know how to say it, so I never remember it. But yeah, like he's pretty good, generally speaking. But man, that movie was so fucking bad. It was so. Not only was it just super woke, but it was bad and super woke. It's like if it's gonna be super woke, at least make it good. Like Watchmen is pretty fucking woke, but it's just good. It's a good show, so it's like I can just forgive that it's woke.
Yeah, and I feel like that show single-handedly like put a light on that whole like Tulsa bombing stuff. Like no one knew about that incident at all.
Oh, I mean, I didn't know the details about it, but I just kind of was like aware of that it was it wasn't a surprise to me. Like when they like started detailing it, I was like, oh, this was kind of like an interesting chapter in history that's not very well. I just kind of know that it happened, and so you'll learn some stuff about it. That's pretty kind of cool. I mean, assuming it's accurate, I don't know why I would assume that it's a fucking fictionalized TV show.
It seemed pretty accurate from what I read.
But yeah, I mean, normally I do that. I'll be like, oh, hey, I'll get interested and like go read up on something after the fact.
Actually, they were nice to them. They gave them presents.
Well, generally speaking, this is my problem with movies that are based on like supposedly true stories. Is why I just generally speaking don't watch them anymore. Is because I get curious about the actual thing, and then I go read about the actual thing, and then it turns out that this is like nothing like what happened really at all, like in any real way. It's just like has some flavoring of that, like a pixie dusting of that actual thing that happened. And then I'm always just like retroactively disappointed in the movie. Like, that kind of sucks now. But if it's a good movie, it'll stand on its own, right? Like Goodfellas, I maintain does not. Apparently, Goodfellas is fairly accurate, but it doesn't need to be like based on a true story. It just would stand on its own as a work of fiction, which would be really good. Apollo 13 apparently is really accurate, but not my cup of tea really as a movie. But...
Not into space.
What's that?
Not into space.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that. I would just not really. I just don't really dig that movie that much.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there are other space movies. Space Cowboys. You ever see that?
No.
A bunch of old crusty dudes old crusty white guys.
The older version of Armageddon. Oh no! What is it? Armageddon, and then what was the other one?
Deep Impact.
There we go. Deep Impact.
Those came out
Volcano.
those came out with a year.
Dante's Peak.
Yeah, it was like the same. They just kept making the same movie every year.
Yeah, it's like a common thing in Hollywood. Like someone has like a script, another studio couldn't get it, so they just steal that idea, and then now you have 2 volcano movies.
Yeah, Deep Impact has a distinct difference from Armageddon, which is that they don't actually. I don't think they actually go up onto the asteroid to do anything, which is a lot of the drama in Armageddon.
Yeah.
So it's basically just takes place all on Earth. And they're like, man, some asteroid coming, it's going to be so bad. And then the asteroids come and kill a bunch of people. And like, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman was president for a minute. It's like,
not on my watch.
People have always enjoyed the sound of me talking. And well, I guess I always knew they would. Like, all right, okay, fair enough. But he actually doesn't narrate that movie. It's like one of the only movies that he doesn't fucking narrate.
Huh.
It's really weird how, like, I mean, I get, what's really weird too is, speaking of narration, you understand why Morgan Freeman narrates movies, right? He's got just like a warm bath of a voice, right? You're just like, oh yeah,
you don't want Gilbert Gottfried to like
right.
narrate your.
It's understandable. I mean, I think it's really played out and trite at this point. I'm really kind of tired of listening to him fucking narrate everything. But you know who narrates a lot of the stuff she's in, but doesn't have like necessarily a narration voice is Winona Ryder. Go back through the catalog of Winona Ryder movies, and she narrates a ridiculous amount of them, considering she doesn't have a very distinct voice. I don't know why this dawned on me. I might have been watching something that she was narrating, but she narrates a lot of fucking movies. It's really weird.
I don't know.
Some clause in her contract, like if I want to be the main character, I better narrate this shit. Tell you what's going. Generally speaking, I don't get the point of most narration in most movies. Mostly, what they do is they just tell you what's happening on screen. It's like really just like for the visually impaired. Casino is the most notorious, and I like that movie.
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas too. But like in Casino, the narration is so bad that they literally just tell you what's happening on the screen the whole
So I
time.
hit him with a baseball bat. I'm gonna hit you with this baseball bat.
So then I hit him. He hits him. Yeah, it's seriously almost that bad.
Yeah.
Like they just tell you what's happening. So then I went over to his house, and it's like,
No, I'm over at his house right now.
Yeah.
Where's this guy?
Yeah, where is he? Huh? What? She's my old lady. The fuck? Fuck you, Sam. The fuck you, Sam. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, it's bad. But anyway, moving on.
Got any news? Cool news?
Start with the funny news first.
All right. Okay. You go funny, I'll go funny.
Yeah, I got funny. You go funny. Funny. Serious. Time traveler from 2582 bizarrely claims Earth will face 3 days of darkness.
Uh-huh.
So,
all right.
Yep. A man who ridiculously claims he is a time traveler from 2582 has predicted that Earth will face a blackout lasting 3 days within the next decade. That's a big decade. That's giving himself a lot of latitude there. In a bonkers TikTok video, the man bizarrely claims the planet will be plunged into 72 hours of darkness, and he urges people to start preparing for the phenomenon. I don't really know what you would do to prepare for 3 days of darkness.
Oh, it's dark.
Yeah, I got a lantern and some candles will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks total rubbish, but people are eating it up. He has amassed a staggering 636,000 followers on his social media website, where his videos have a combined 7 million likes. His video, which claims the 3-day blackout will cause chaos on Earth in 5 years' time, has been watched by more than 425,000 users. The caption states, "Believe it or not, this has indeed happened on June 6, 2026. Starting at 00H00UTC on June 6, 2026, the Earth will enter." I hate when fucking journalists do this. It's like, okay, you just told us this information, and now you're quoting him telling us the same information you just paraphrased.
Oh, so it's like narrating a story, and then they...
It's exactly what it's like. It's very apt. But yeah. Do not look up in the sky at the light coming from the pyramids. Do not use any man-made light except candles. I don't think... Okay, anyway. The TikTok user warns viewers they must be, quote, prepared for the event and remain at home until the end of the 3-day period. Among the thousands of comments from the users, many wanted more details about the lights from the pyramids and what will happen after. The time traveler replied, "I will explain more in details. It should clear all doubts you have left." One viewer wrote, "I'm not going to lie, I put it on my phone calendar about this doomsday, but I'm highly skeptical." You're not that skeptical. Another added, "Please tell me that this is not real. I'm scared of all the dark and we don't have any candles. Can we use TVs and phones?" They're just fucking with him now at this point. A third person wrote, "This is not real. He has had multiple videos saying stuff would happen, then they never did, and he deleted the videos." There's a growing list of social media accounts run by hoaxers who claim to be from the future while throwing out predictions of doom and gloom. In one video, a man claimed he went to the year 8973 and telepathic cyborgs who replaced humans. That's pretty much it. That's the end of the story.
Okay.
Fun.
All right. In MMA news, within the space of a week, Conor McGregor bought the pub he hit the old man in and just banned him from it. Then donated $500K to a charity in Louisiana that isn't Justin Poirier. Real fuck you money.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard the story. Where Conor McGregor was arrested and fined for punching an old man in a pub because he owns.
Wait, that was a real story?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he offered him a shot of his proper 12 and he wouldn't drink it and slugged this dude in the face. So he just ended up buying the pub. I think it was like for like $1 million or something like that. It's like, you know what, old man? You're not allowed here.
That's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah. And I guess he pledged to donate like
So he punched the guy.
Yeah.
And then he kicked him out of his favorite pub.
Yeah. He bought the pub and then
Well, yeah, he bought it and banned it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That guy didn't sue him?
Well, he got in trouble for it. Yeah.
But that guy didn't sue him? This is like you sue someone with that much money.
I think he did. I think he got like community service and he was fined or he sued him for some amount of money.
Had to be a lot.
I don't know.
You'd have to give me a lot of money to take a punch in the head from Conor McGregor.
Uh-huh.
He'd probably just give you brain damage, like, instantly.
Yeah. Everyone's like, the comment, because there's a video of it, him punching the old man. He's like, he couldn't even knock the old man out. He wasn't even looking. He had fucking pills for hands. Look at that guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with, he pledged to donate to Justin Poirier's, like, the Good Fight Foundation, which helps out his community or whatever. And Dustin's like, hey, bro, you said you would pledge money to us and you didn't? He's like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to pledge money to somewhere else now. Fuck off.
I don't think you know what pledge means.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a promise to give the money.
Yeah. Apparently there was like funny business or something like that. I don't know what the deal was, but he just ended up donating the money to another organization.
Like, he just was skeptical that the money was going toward what the foundation claimed.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's why I would be skeptical to specifically, like, I mean, there's just a lot of, like, corruption in the charity world. I mean, I don't know, like the
Susan G. Komen Foundation.
Yeah,
that's pretty fucking bad.
It's pretty bad. I generally speaking, I only don't donate to charities that, like, have a fairly narrow band.
Yeah.
Of, like, what it is they do.
I like doing food banks or like Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah, it's just like, we just get clean water for people.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, actually, if I'm honest, I'm lazy, and what I do
is make your girlfriend do it for you.
No.
Give her the money. I don't have time for that.
No. So do you know who Peter Singer is?
No.
So he's a big philanthropist, a charity guy. He wrote this book on, like, animal ethics and stuff like that. Animal Liberation is the name of the book if you want to read it. I haven't read it because apparently it's super good and super convincing. It'll just, like, turn you into a vegan, which I'm a little scared of, if I'm being frank. But anyway, he does a lot of, like...
You turn to Earth Father now. Hey, man.
But he does a lot of stuff, like, was like all of his charities are basically, like, human rights charities. And so basically you have this option where you can just kind of, like, you know, I just look like, well, these are our top charities that, like, you know, get most of our money and do most of the work that we do for our foundation. And so I just kind of was like, okay, so you look at all, and you can donate to the charities individually, or you can just take your donation and they'll just split it up among their top 5 or 6 charities. And I'm lazy, so that's just what I was like. Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty good causes, but I'm not going to, like, donate, like, an equal amount of money every month to each of them. So I was like, well, just kind of, like, so basically it just amounts to, like, probably, like, a few dollars a month to, like, each one of these charities or whatever. So I'm just lazy, and that's what I do. It's like, okay, it's easier that way than, like, researching what they all do. Like, I know that the writer.
I'm sure it's good. Just give it to him.
Well, he has been, like, philanthropying for a long time, and he's a pretty well-known ethicist and stuff like that. So he has some pretty decent credibility in my eyes.
He's playing the long game, bro.
Yeah. Like, as it turns out,
I love eating meat. Fuck you guys.
Corrupt for 50 years, motherfucker. But
you know what's in my side? Meat.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, it's, like, pretty rampant in lots of causes where it's like a lot of their money just goes toward, like, administrative costs and shit. And so really just, like, they don't really do anything. The Susan G. Komen Foundation is a great example. Like,
how are you rich and you're running, like, a foundation like that? That doesn't seem right to me.
Well, and they don't do anything really to help cancer research.
No.
They just put on these giant events that, like, require all this administrative and overhead and everything. And then people get together and...
Cancer awareness.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm aware of cancer.
Yeah, who isn't? Breast cancer awareness is, like, at an all-time high. Everyone is aware of it. Everyone cares because, you know, it involves women and we all like women. So, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, here you go. It's like you'd be better off just writing, like, a $10 check to some research institution and just giving it directly to them. Like, here you go, there's $10 rather than spending $100 on the walk or whatever. And they're connecting and sharing their stories. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but that doesn't do shit. That just makes everybody feel better, which I'm not undermining that. It's whatever, a noble cause, I guess. But it's not cancer research, right? You're not really ending cancer. You're making people feel better about getting cancer, which again is a noble cause. I'm not undermining it at all, but, like, that's not what you're billed as, man. Your build is, like, help cancer research, and we got to eradicate cancer. And like let's try. You aren't doing anything. You are just
we're making it, people aware of it. Why are you being so? What are you doing?
Like do something. Like
we're helping cancer patients. How dare you?
Mm-hmm. Why don't you help doctors figure out how to stop it? That would be more useful, so other people don't get cancer, and then you don't have to make them feel better because they just don't have it, right? Yeah. Yay. That's awesome. But anyway. So yeah, I mean, whatever. It's his money, I guess. If he doesn't want to give it to whatever dude.
Yeah, at least he put the money somewhere. He was like, I'm going to squirrel this away. Fuck you.
Yeah. Saving up for another $50 million fight. Give me the belts.
Give me the belts. All the belts.
Yeah. So yeah, at least he gave it to some other foundation. I mean, I don't know the other foundation. It was like a white nationalist group or something. Because I wouldn't be surprised with that dude.
What?
Conor McGregor, like he's like he brims on racist a lot of the times and misogynistic.
Oh, he says some crazy shit like to build up the fights.
No, but he said other stuff too. Like I remember saying, what did he say about? Like if his sister had like a kid out of wedlock or something, he would like knock her unconscious or some fucking horrible shit like that.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be.
Yeah, it was something like that because he's like pretty Catholic, I think, isn't he? Yeah. And he said something like that, like if my sister had a out of wedlock, I'd smack her upside the head. It's like fucking. Why is this relevant? Why are you even talking about this? It doesn't involve you fighting people. I mean, I guess it kind of does, right? Like,
about to fight
he's
somebody.
About to fight his sister for being a hua, whatever in his eyes. But yeah. But so yeah, he says some stuff like that every now and again. Where you're just like, all right, yeah, I can see like you're talking shit to other fighters about the fight or whatever, and like, who was that guy that said the thing about the sloppy seconds? Who said that?
Sloppy seconds.
Was that a fighter or a musician? I thought it was a fighter.
Oh, is that the story I was telling you with Andre Arlovsky? He was like in an interview. It was Tim Sylvia. It was like his big rival at the time. And I guess Tim Sylvia was dating Andre's.
No, it's not. This is the How My PV Taste,
yeah,
right?
Like, you have any words for Tim Sylvia? Yeah. How it tastes my big pee-pee.
No, this is a different guy. He said something. It might have been a musician and not a fighter. But he said something about some dude was dating some gal that he used to date, and he just basically was like, "Get my sloppy seconds, bro." It's like, sure,
okay.
I mean, I guess everybody is somebody's sloppy seconds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you date high school girls or whatever, and in which case you have far bigger problems than that. But anyway.
You got anything else?
Oh, news, yeah. Well, actually, I don't really need the article up because it was a feature article, and really, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. So apparently, the big five fucking tech giants, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet, who are the other ones? Google, or not Google. Google is Alphabet. Who am I leaving out? Apple, and it's like the fifth biggest company.
Yahoo? I don't know.
No, it's not Yahoo. Fuck. Anyway, it's gonna bug me now. But apparently they all saw like record fucking profits this last quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And they now those five companies like constitute. It's gonna bug me what the other company is now. I'm just gonna look it up really quick. Where'd it go? Here, I'll read you the headline. That way, five tech giants just keep growing: Facebook, Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple. So all of them apparently are just like keep getting bigger, like despite fucking COVID. Like, I mean, even if that hadn't happened, they likely would still have gotten bigger. But apparently, it helped all of them.
Mm-hmm.
To basically just like unimaginable fucking heights. So Apple, the world's most highly valued company, jumped 54% to the highest level it's ever hit for the first 3 months of the year. Amazon logged its fourth straight record quarter profit, a stretch when its total earnings exceeded those of the previous 3 years combined.
Damn.
Yeah. And so now those 5 companies are worth $8 trillion and constitute 25% of the S&P 500.
We are the economy now.
It's just like pretty much they're a quarter of the S&P 500,
Mm-hmm.
which for context is nearly double what it was just 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's
like,
fucking crazy.
Yeah. So it's just like, wow. And then they just kind of go into some of the details of kind of like what good, Microsoft now has 445 million daily active users. So yeah, Amazon, the e-commerce giant now has 950,000 U.S. employees. And, so the likelihood that you know somebody that works for Amazon, I know I do. My buddy Devin works there, and Diana does. Her friend Whitney works there. And basically they've almost doubled. About a year ago, they only had 500,000 employees. And now they have almost twice that. It's like, fuck, dude. Like, just, it makes sense. It's like, okay, pandemic. Like, what have people been doing? It's like fucking buying shit and like, putzing around on fucking Facebook. Apparently, that's like because Facebook's money all just comes from ad revenue, doesn't it?
I think so.
That's just ridiculous to think about. It's like ads. It's like so many people are on Facebook that it's just like you could just make that much money.
Face place, baby.
I guess. Yeah, but. Yeah, that was it. I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty stunning that it was fucking... I mean, I knew that they were doing well and better than they had, but now it's like, no, they're like an order of magnitude than they were like just a fucking like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah. Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO. I think he's just a board member now.
Yeah. Is that BORED board?
Yeah,
I don't know, dude. I'm just so fucking rich. I can't do anything.
Balling out of control, man.
It's like, I don't know, whatever. Just do whatever you want with it. You can't...
I'm already rich.
Yeah.
I got divorced and gave half it away. She's the richest chick ever, and I'm still rich as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's like you got divorced, like, yeah, whatever, just have half of it. I don't care.
Yeah. Just you're like as rich as like the 5 richest human beings in history before you existed, and you didn't do anything other than marry some famous guy, and he's still that much more richer than you. Like, oh, whatever. I'm just here's $1 billion. Leave me alone. So yeah, we're just Blade Runner levels of like, megalith corporations on the horizon. Just be Tyrell Corporation in no time. It was like when I was filing my unemployment and I did that like for a couple of weeks. I told you about that, didn't I?
Yeah.
I was just
like, don't read this.
I'm just like, they don't fucking read who I apply to. I was like, I applied to be a Blade Runner at Tyrell Corporation, and I applied to be a programmer at Initech, and I applied to be just all these phony fucking companies.
5 years from now, I was like, I don't think you're supposed to do that. You get 5 years for jail now.
Yeah, well. At least maybe I could have respect their authority at some point. Okay, yeah, I did do that. I guess it's punitive. I wouldn't even argue. I'd just be like, yeah, I was right. I did that. Fair. Go to jail, I guess, or whatever. I don't think they even put people in jail in California anymore, do they? They just kind of like come to your house and give you a talking to or whatever. They
wag their finger. Hey, you're bad.
They're just like, I mean, if they're not like. You can like steal stuff and not like go to jail, and like deal drugs and not go to jail, and do all sorts of other crazy shit and not go to jail. And why would they? I don't know. Maybe just in the topsy-turvy world of bureaucratic shit, you got to look like you're doing something, right? We're not putting away all the rapists and murderers and people that should be going to jail. So we'll just fixate on this like bureaucratic shit. Like, oh, you didn't dot your I, and that's like a federal offense there on this government form. Constitutes a lie to the government. So we're just going to publicly cane you now. And then in California, the public would just be behind it. They'd be like, yeah, man, way to be tough on crime. The people smoking cigars in the park and shit. You got to crack down on that. But like, all the BMs in fucking San Francisco, meanwhile, are just stockpiling to the moon. Never do anything about that. It's not against the law to apparently shit in a public space anymore, but that's cool, I guess. Anyway, what else you got?
Citizen Kane loses 100% fresh rating after 80-year-old negative review added to Rotten Tomatoes.
80-year-old negative review?
Yeah, Citizen Kane, the Orson Welles classic, often hailed as the greatest movie of all time, slipped to slipped from 100% to 99 on Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, sometime between February 25th and March 1st this year. The site added a negative review to the 115 positive ones already there. One, published 80 years ago in Chicago Tribune, May Tame, a collective pseudonym they used by the paper's film critics. Get it? Matame. Citizen Kane fails to impress critics as greatest filmed ever, runs the headline, followed by superficially respectfully, but with withering criticism. It's interesting. It's different, writes the Tribune. In fact, it's bizarre enough to become a museum piece, but its sacrifice of simplicity to eccentricity robs it of its distinction and general entertainment value. So weird to add that.
Well, probably has something to do with that movie that just came out. And they just had like the movie about like the rights over like who wrote it and stuff like that.
Oh, Mink.
Yeah.
Still need to watch that. Yeah. It's on Prime.
I mean, I don't get the 100% rating. I don't think it's...
It's an important film.
And it is a good film. But I would... Same thing with like Shawshank Redemption. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's... Hell, it's not even Orson Welles' best movie. Not really. From a technical standpoint, yeah, I guess. But like...
Can you guess the other... Since Citizen Kane's no longer 100%, what other films do you think are ahead of it now?
Paddington 2.
That's up there, but I don't know if it's 100%.
If I had to guess, I would venture to guess that it's probably 100%.
Oh. So they got 1984's The Terminator and 1995 Godzilla versus Destroyer. Has 100%.
That's weird. I would venture to guess Shawshank probably has 100.
Probably. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 probably.
I don't know if all of them would, but yeah, probably at least. I mean, I would say that 1 and 3 probably deserve
1 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it.
The second one is solid, but the
Yeah.
third one is really good, and the first one is a classic. So it's probably pretty close to like maybe not the best animated movie, but it's certainly up there.
I was looking at I was watching those movies and looking at the timeline. My middle brother is like the same age as Andy. It's so fucking weird to think about in those terms.
Weird.
It's like, oh yeah, you're like a real life Andy.
Yeah, because I mean, that movie Toy Story didn't come out like when we were kids.
We're like in middle school.
Yeah, like middle school, so it wasn't like something that was like. But then again, my sense of like what's age appropriate, like we were talking about this with Home Alone, remember, where it was, you're like, you didn't like Home Alone, and I was like, I don't know, but I was watching rated R movies when I was like 8, so it's like, when you can see like RoboCop and fucking like, well, RoboCop wasn't rated R, but you can see Terminator, Predator. I remember watching Predator when I was like,
little kid,
a kid, yeah. Like a little kid, and it was like, this is fucking awesome, right? It's like he was like Home Alone. He's doing, zany stuff with the burglars. I'm like, this is kid shit. I don't fucking want to watch this stupid shit, right? Like, yeah. So maybe most middle schoolers were into Toy Story, but I don't remember. I mean, I remember liking it, but just kind of just being like, whatever.
I was just tripping out. It was all CGI. I was like, this is so fucking weird to see this.
Yeah, it definitely was like a cool, but that was it. It was like a peculiarity, but I just like watched it enough times with my younger brothers because they were really into it. Like, this really is a good movie, man. Like, and it's good because, kids like to watch the same thing like fucking over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And when they latch on to something that's not good, like my brothers latched on to the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen fucking straight to DVD fucking like detective things or whatever. Horrible. Or like, I bet you I've seen the movie Casper like 50 times.
What's her name in that movie?
Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
Also, Devon Sawa plays Casper.
Who's that?
He was in like the Final Destination movies. He was in SLC Punk. He was in Idle Hands. That dude.
Okay.
So he's like in one scene at the end of the movie where they show him in like his boy form. He's Casper.
Uh-huh.
And But yeah, I watched that movie. My brother,
I was murdered.
my
My
younger
family. I'm a friendly ghost now.
my
So I
younger
was murdered.
he literally broke the VHS tape.
Why?
He watched it so many times.
Yeah.
It was funny too because I remember what happened was my mom was going somewhere. She was leaving and going out of town. And I was like a latchkey kid and I was maybe like 12. And so she's like, "Okay, I'm just going out of town. See you later."
Okay. So
Right.
yeah.
And so like my dad was like, "Oh, hey, I'll come over and like, order pizza and like hang out and it'll be good times." I was like, "Yeah, cool." Because I didn't see my dad all that much when I was a kid. And so he came over and he was like, "Oh, like Amanda couldn't take your brother tonight, so I got to bring him with me." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." And like he had to have the Casper tape with him. Like he just had to watch it like every day.
Yeah.
And so he comes over, he puts it in my VCR, and my VCR just spits out a bunch of fucking like tape at it. Like,
Oh my
I
God.
was like, yeah, my VCR doesn't do that. My VCR knows that that's a stupid movie, and I'm tired of it, and it's taking my side on this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the end of Casper.
Uh-huh.
Like, yep, no more. But he watched that movie every day. It was basically on constantly at my dad's house. Every day.
Oh my God.
Like just backed up on a loop. Just fucking always on, always on. And if it wasn't on, he'd be like, put on Casper.
Uh-huh.
It's like fucking stupid. So like I'm sure there was a point where I could probably just recite the whole script beginning to end.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a particularly good movie though. Like even a good kids movie. You probably didn't even remember that it was a movie until I said something, did you?
No, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's like whatever. But like Toy Story, you can watch that a bunch. That's fine.
My brother watched a lot of Starship Troopers.
That movie is awesome.
It's like, oh my God. This people's just fucking getting mangled
Yeah.
by the fucking bugs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a...
Little kid too. They made toys for that fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, wasn't the original cut of it like an NC-17 movie too?
It could have been.
Yeah.
When one alien just fucking sucks your brain out.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie is fucked up. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's fucking Paul Vanderhoeven or whatever his name is.
RoboCop guy, right?
Yeah. Also did Showgirls, apparently. I didn't know that until Diana was some YouTuber that does like video essays was doing like a video essay on Showgirls. And like kind of dissecting it and like talking about while the movie gets lambasted, it actually has like a decent amount of substance to the film. Like the narrative around the film is actually has like some strong commentary to it, which I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't be surprised. It's like, there's always lots of
trying to like episode 1 this shit. No, actually, episode 1 was an excellent movie. It's better than the original trilogy.
I don't think she was making an argument that the movie itself is good, but just that it has substance and that you just kind of like, because it's a trashy movie about strippers, like, and that was the claim to fame, right? Like it was the
NC-17.
Well, and that Saved by the Bell chick.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, the Saved by the Bell chick is like a naughty girl now. And it's like, and like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, you're just like, God, I'm tired of seeing this chick's tits already. Like, how can I think I would ever just get tapped out of like seeing boobs? But you're just like, is that all there is to this movie? I'm just kind of bored with it. But it's, I think it's more on par with like Magic Mike. You first saw a trailer for a movie, you're like, okay, I'm definitely not watching that. But then like, after a while, it kind of like sat in the zeitgeist and people were like, it's actually a good movie. Like, watch it. It's like, got some substance, a story to it about like trying to attain success and fame and like, but it's all just behind this veneer of like strippers, but it's like the dude equivalent of Showgirls.
Okay. Or striptease.
Striptease, yeah. Was that Demi Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did she get a boob job for that movie? I think she did, didn't she?
I don't know.
I just remember her just being incredibly busty, and I was like, I don't remember her being this busty when she was in like G.I. Jane or whatever. Oh. Yeah. She was like, she's in G.I. Jane, when she was like pregnant in Vanity Fair. It was like so edgy. You don't remember that?
I didn't know it was like pretty close to the time that all that stuff happened.
Yeah, because like she was really famous for a minute.
Yeah.
It was like, pretty much started with like Indecent Ghost and Indecent Proposal, And then like after striptease and yeah, apparently people fucking love that movie, man. I don't get it. It's a really stupid movie. I don't understand why it's a fucking stupid movie.
Had Whoopi in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It did have Whoopi in it. I don't really like her though. I don't like the movies she's in. When I see her like speaking at things and like if she's doing comedy or something, like I'm into her. I'm like, oh yeah, she's pretty cool. I like Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, I only know her from the movies. I've never seen any of her stand up. I don't know if she's even any good.
Not bad.
Oh, okay.
But which it's really particularly weird given her. It's sort of like how Bob Saget got famous from Full House. Mm-hmm. And then you actually learn like what Bob Saget's comedy is like, and you're like, that's what that guy's comedy is like? Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Like, why did they ever put that guy on Full House? Like putting Bill Burr on Full House. Like, he's just like one of the...
Or, put him in the Grammys. Do the Latino.
It's just like fucking one of the filthiest fucking comics, the raunchiest comics ever. It's the same thing with Whoopi Goldberg. She's like in all these like Sister Act and like, she's in Little Rascals and like...
Oh, it's the Ice Cube effect. Before Ice Cube was famous.
But it's inverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, but like, yeah, it's...
No, it's the same thing. Ice Cube was like, he was in NWA and now he makes like family-friendly movies now.
Right, but he didn't continue doing that stuff while he was in the field, like switched gears.
Yeah.
But like Bob Saget apparently just maintained being a comedian. And so did like Whoopi Goldberg. Like she just remained raunchy. Like I don't think Ice Cube is like, all hard anymore or whatever. But maybe, I don't know. That dude that's in all them family movies?
Yeah. That's like the biggest turn ever in history.
Yeah. Especially because doesn't he play a cop in like several movies?
No, you're thinking of Ice Cube or Ice-T.
I swear Ice Cube plays a cop.
You telling me this guy got murdered by a knife?
So here's the thing. What? Like this dude gets his jollies off by diddling little kids? It's like, dude, aren't you in the special victims unit? Don't you see this sort of shit every fucking day? Why are you acting like you don't know what a pedophile is or you don't know what a racially motivated murder is? Like, so fucking stupid. He's just shocked all over it. And everyone else is just like, yeah, like... Mm-hmm.
So you're saying you hate him because of the color of his skin? Man.
Well, my mama told me that ain't right. Oh yeah, because Ice-T wrote Cop Killer, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the irony there. He wrote a fucking song called Cop Killer, and like now you play a cop on television who apparently doesn't understand how crime works.
Like, I don't know if the whatever show he's on is he still doing that? I don't know.
The SVU, dude. I just assume Law and Order it never goes off the air.
Yeah, it'd be kind of funny if like his he decides to like leave that role, like some rapper kills him. That'd be kind of funny.
I think it would be funnier if all the Law and Orders.
Apparently, the guy with the old dude with the sunglasses.
Yeah,
he plays the same character.
Yeah,
like even in other movies, he's the same character.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, apparently he has like a record for playing the same character in all these different like IPs.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird. But no, I think it would just be funnier if it just like they just all stay on the show for so long if they get old that it basically just turns into Matlock. Mm-hmm. It's just like they're just like involved in it. So let me get this straight. That guy pushed that old lady down a flight of stairs because he wanted her medication. That's crazy, Law and Order, geriatric unit, or whatever. Like,
it's like the whole thing with like CSI. They have like CSI Miami. They had the Vegas one before, and they have one for LA or something like that.
Yeah, it's like they just wanted to see how much they could saturate the market and still be like viable. But yeah, there was lots of laws and orders. I don't know which is
boom boom,
doom doom. Yeah, people really love that show. I don't get.
I like the not Parks and Rec, Community Spoof. That was a good one.
I don't think I saw that.
That's a really good spoof.
It's like, well, especially because like here's the thing is like the format of the show kind of gives it away. Like, they arrest some dude, and it's like 5 minutes into the episode. You're like, okay, that guy didn't do it.
Yeah. For sure that guy didn't do it.
Right. It's like in a house. Like, okay, whatever the first treatment is, you're like, it's not that, whatever it is. Except in that one episode where it actually is the thing that they think first. So they at least subvert it at one point. So that's interesting. What is it? It's the episodes. It's the poker episode. It's called Slow Play. They're having like some poker tournament, charity poker tournament in the hospital while the whole events of the case are going on. And House thinks it's one thing. He thinks it's Erdheim Chester, which is like this weird disease, because they're all weird diseases. And then it's not till the end of the episode where they only have like a certain amount of tissue to like test for like there's like 5 things that they've narrowed it down to, but they can only get 3 tests. So they got to test like for 2 or 3 of like the 6 things that it could be. And then he like wants them to test them for this thing that they already tested them for. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" Because he's talking to Wilson about poker, and he slow played him, and he's like, "That's what it is." Like, so it dawns on him that the disease slow played him, right? So they're supposed to test the bowel or whatever. It's like, we already tested that. He's like, "Yeah, but it wasn't there then. When we tested it, it hadn't progressed down to the bowel yet. So now it has progressed down to the bowel, and it's testing for this." And sure enough, he's right, because he's House. He's right about everything. So. But yeah, it's same thing, you know. It's like, it's not, except that one episode, it's like not the thing they guessed first, you know.
What's the one that's never blah blah blah, and they have his medicine in the book that has that?
Lupus.
It's never lupus.
It's never lupus. Yeah. And the special features of like season 2 or 3, because I used to have the DVDs of House. And there's like a special feature called "It's Not Lupus," and they just splice together all of them being like, "It's lupus, it's not lupus, it's lupus. Could it be lupus? What about lupus? Lupus? It's never lupus, right?" Except in one episode, it is lupus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. What is lupus? I don't even know.
It's an autoimmune disease. They figure it out because it's like your blood types. They're talking about blood types. Like, apparently you don't test what kind of blood you have. You're testing the antigens in your blood. And so if you could test for like AB, because you'd have the antigens for both A and B, if you have lupus, because your cells, like, your autoimmune is when like your body just like hates the rest of your body. And
it's like
it thinks it's a foreign invader, and it just attacks certain elements of your body, whether it's your blood cells or your brain cells or whatever it is. But yeah, it is in one episode. It's lupus, but yeah, the special featurette was pretty good. It was like, oh man, that's funny. It's never lupus.
All right, moving on to the cigar review. How are you liking it so far?
It's still pretty mellow for a Maduro. I really like a Brazilian Maduro, especially, usually has like a lot of that like earthiness to it. I'm still getting kind of like that little cornmeal flavor is kind of gone, and it's like, but I'm still getting kind of a raisiny like spiciness, and it's got some cream to it too. So it's like a buttery, creamy kind of flavor, which is really peculiar in a Maduro. But yeah, I don't know. Spice, raisin, it's good, but it's pretty. It's
kind of one note. That first light up was like a banger.
Yeah,
just mellowed out
because it just stays kind of quiet. It doesn't really. But yeah, I think it's worth the price.
But it's a fresh shipment, right? So it could be.
We usually sit on things for 3 or 4 days before we put them on the shelf.
Okay. That'd be interesting to see like within 6 months and see how it turns out.
Yeah, I can see why someone who doesn't like Maduros would like it.
Yeah. I
get that. Like, he doesn't like Maduros typically. Jeb, the manager at Alone, he doesn't usually like Maduros, and he recommended it. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, because this doesn't have the flavor profile that you would typically associate with Maduros. It's definitely not as bold in flavor. It's even a lighter Maduro visually, but the flavor profile to me even just kind of belies the color even.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it like it just looks like a Colorado Oscuro.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a Sungrown Sumatra, like a lighter version of that.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have guessed a Brazilian.
Yeah.
Because Brazilians are usually fairly dark. And like I see earth leather. I mean, I get a little bit of the leather now.
Yeah, the texture of it's like a little bit more of a satin. There's still kind of toothy in a bit, but not as toothy as like say like the CAO Brasilia.
No, it's pretty seamless. It's got a nice sheen on it. The smoke is like thick, like for something that's not like a Liga or has that like kind of artificially thick smoke.
Yeah, but kind of still kind of smokes by itself.
Yeah, but like even when you draw on it, it draws easy, and it's like the smoke is kind of like chewy.
Yeah.
So I guess that's like because if it didn't have that quality to it, or the smoke really steeped your palate, I don't think you'd be able to get much off of it at all because it's like in the back half here it's straying toward medium.
Yeah.
But
that second third was kind of tilting more of like on a milder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give it like a 8.6.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty good. Little disappointed because off the bat it was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, I can't believe like it hit me like with the it just kind of had like a generic sweetness, but it really was like not really like that like hay barnyard, but like more of like I said like a buttery creamy cornbread or porridge of sorts.
Yeah, that like a leather smell to it, or leather taste to it. That's why I was like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah, I got a little bit of that, but it was not what it jumped out at me.
Yeah, definitely kind of. Do they make any other stuff from that line?
We have another one that's the same, but it's not a Maduro, it's a Sumatra.
Oh, that should be interesting.
So I'll see. I just tried the Maduro because Jeff said he really liked it, and he chose it as his pick. So I was like, okay, we'll see what's up. I figured it was different. Plus, in the evenings, usually like I worked today at the cigar shop, so I've already had a couple of cigars today. Placencia earlier. Forgot what I was. I smoked something that was like, this is kind of different. Like I haven't smoked one of these in a while, and I smoked it. And then I lit up a Placencia, and my old lady was like, man, I really like that first cigar that you smoked better than the second one. I'm like, you like it more than the Placencia? The Placencia is so good. I really like that cigar. That cigar's like in my rotation now.
That'd be kind of interesting what her palate's like. Like just give her like a random assortment of cigars and see what she gravitates towards.
I can tell you a few things that she likes. Because she is just generally kind of like,
whatever you give me, I'll smoke.
I don't like that, or I do like that. I don't like that so much, or very rarely is that I really don't like that. But like, she's like, I like this one better than that one. But like, she likes the Principas, the Padron Principas, the little short ones.
Yeah,
like just little chocolate bombs. Like she really likes those. She likes the Seventh Kappa quite a bit. She likes the Underground Shade. These cracker crumbs that I got, she likes those. Some cigars that she doesn't really care for. Like she doesn't like things with a lot of like earth or spice. So usually if I give her something like that, she's like, I'm not really so keen on that, right? Like she doesn't really like the Fausto. She doesn't really like things with like I said, like high spice or high earth.
Yeah, the Fausto is something. It's kind of like a very niche cigar. You
Yeah,
gotta really like Tatuaje to like that cigar.
It just doesn't have the richness that I like want it to have.
Yeah,
it
it's a very narrow bandwidth that it plays around with, and it's all amped up, right?
Yeah, it's just
There's no subtlety to that cigar. It's like in your face.
Yeah,
it's like the edgelord of cigars.
Yeah, I would just like it. Well, the better version of that is the Jason, the limited one that they did. It just but in my criticism of that was like, well, it just tastes basically like a Fausto, but just a little bit better. And so I wasn't really that hyped on the Jason. It was just like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
I did like that they made the Jason. Did you smoke the original release of it?
Yeah, I think I did.
They're fucking humongous, like fucking 9.5 inches or something like that. Like it was massive cigars. Like, okay, that's appropriate for the one that's billed as the Jason, right? It's just like big and like toothy.
Is it bigger than the Frank?
I think so, dude. I seriously think it's like a 50 by 9.5.
Because I remember the box, but I don't.
The dress boxes on those were fucking on the Jasons were dope.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, you never saw the dress box for the Jason? Yeah, it's here. Let's see, pull up a photo of it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's in the rotation. I'll probably have to smoke a few more of them before I can really say that. But I definitely will try it again.
Oh, that's weird. You could see like the smoke is like two-tone. I don't know if that's like, I've never seen that before. See how like one is a darker smoke than the other? One's like a pure white.
And one's like almost like a brownish.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if that's like the binder and filler burring.
Yeah, I don't know. But I've never noticed that either. Usually it's one color or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is such a good dress box. It just looks good.
Yeah, it's up there as like some of the best ones. Because I'm more like, I like traditional boxes.
Yeah.
In general, just like what Tatawai makes, just like has a stamp on it. That's it. Because I'm not really into like the Gurkha stuff where it's all fucking glitter bombed out and.
Yeah, I just I think it just depends. I'm trying to think. I can't think of very many boxes that are like. Because generally, if I just see something that's flashy, I'm kind of like, okay,
yeah,
is it any good?
I do have the original Tatawai Black Label jar.
Ceramic?
Yeah, I have it sitting back there. Yeah, so those are cool.
Yeah, that cigar, like when they were in the ceramic jars, is so fucking good.
That thing was fire, dude.
Oh god, it was like one of my all-time favorite cigars.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, is I don't even know even if you could find them, I bet you like that cigar because of like how kind of quiet and nuanced it was. Like probably doesn't hold up like to that much age because it's probably been like almost 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting because it's like a rustic looking cigar.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the wrapper's pretty beefy. So I don't know if it would.
No, the wrapper on that cigar is super fragile. It's a really fragile. On the Corona Gordas that come in those jars are super duper fragile.
I think maybe like the Petite Coronas. They have like the really thick.
Yeah, they have a thicker wrapper on the Petite Coronas. We have those at Aloni now. It was funny because I came in.
That blend's not the same though.
No,
it's from the original release.
I think the Corona Gorda is different than the other black labels in general.
Yeah.
But I wanted one the other day. I came in. I was like, man, I'm gonna do my at cost purchase, and I came in and I was like, man, I really wish we had fucking like tap black labels. I've been really wanting one. It's cool. We got the Petite Coronas up there. I was like, we do, and he was like, yeah, I just got a box of them in today. I was like, awesome. Bought 10 of them.
Wow, yeah. I wonder what that feeling was like to have new stock come in.
Good stuff. Switch camps, bro. Come on over.
I was thinking about it. I don't know if it's the situation around West Coast that just put me off of working like any retail job at all. I'm like that.
Well, you can come hang out at Aloni.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it still fucking grinds my gears when like I don't even work there anymore, and I hear people like, "What's up with the place? Why does it look different?" It's like it fucking looks different, dude.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Stop talking at me.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Fire me? I don't fucking work here anymore.
Yeah. I want to do that. Just like I don't fucking work here. What are you asking me this shit for?
I have done that. I mean, not like that rude, but like
no.
People, it's like I'm not working, dude. Like I'm hanging out. Well, yeah, but maybe you could like talk to Kyle. Yeah, but you're my guy. And I had to wait till I work again then.
Not anymore.
Not getting up to help you. Like, unless I know you and I like you, and there's a very few people in that category of people that I like. You know, like if somebody's like a pal of yours or whatever, you talk cigars with them and they like listen to what you have to say, and like if you just ask me like, hey, like what's good here? Like I've never been to Aloni. Like what's good here? Like we're pals. I just make a recommendation. Like, hey, try this out. But like some random customer just comes in and like asks for my help all the time. It's like, yeah, I'm not so keen on doing that when I'm not getting paid. I think it's just. We have to have boundaries in this relationship. It's important. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got to figure out what days you go, maybe, or work. So I just make a trek up there once in a while.
Well, you don't work Wednesdays anymore, and you don't have Kiki Punch on Wednesdays. I work Wednesday nights.
Ah, okay.
And then I work Saturday day shift, and you're not working day shift at West Coast anymore. So like if we're ever going to go play pool, like on Saturday night before we podcast or something, like you could always just come up and have a cigar like at the tail end of my shift or something and hang out. Usually it was really quiet today up until like right around closing.
Yeah.
But usually up until about 4 or 5 o'clock, which is when I get off. Like it's usually pretty quiet on Saturdays.
Yeah, it seems like it's a feast or famine for when I go there for customers. Either you're closed and we're just hanging out, or there's like it's a party.
Yeah, but it's actually more of like a steady trickle kind of shop. Like it's just business is just kind of steady. But as for like people hanging out, just like at West Coast, like at a certain point in the day, there'll be like a steady trickle, but like it won't be like, you know, the shit's not sticking against the wall like as much. Like, you know, you get people sticking after a certain time of day, and all the regulars kind of show up and apparently expect us to stay open late for them, which I don't do that.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand the ask. I don't understand it.
No.
We're closing now.
No. We're not closing now. We're closing,
no.
We're closing in an hour.
Yeah. That thing is like, what do you want me to do? Break the rules for you?
No, the thing is like,
it's like you don't respect my time.
I would love to just force, like, if I wasn't like working and didn't have to worry about like whether someone would get fucking mad at me or yell at me, and then I would just be like, you know what, fine. You don't like the way I do that, then I just don't work here anymore, right? Like that's usually my solution to things. Only thing I have control over. It's like, I'm not going to work here anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't want to deal with this shit. But, you know, having a job is important. But it's like I really wish I could just push them into a corner to get them to say, I want you to stay late for my benefit.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They want you to stay. Like, you don't own your labor.
Yeah.
I decide when you work. Yeah. He even tried that shit. He was like, oh, we're just, you know, we're customers. Like, I guess that doesn't matter or whatever. I'm like, I don't make the rules.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing of like, kind of like not respecting your time too. It's like, I'm just going to be here all the time just because you want me here?
And the thing is I even told him, he was like, well, you know, like, oh, you're not going to get out of here right at 9, are you? I mean, like, hang out and let us finish our sticks or whatever. And I was like, and here's the thing is I didn't illuminate this for him, but like, you have an arbitrary cutoff. You get your cigar at 8 o'clock and you're not done till 9:15. What about the guy in the interim there who lights up a cigar at 8:45? No, I know 8:45 or 20 to 9. Now do I have to stay until he's done with his cigar, and the guy after him lights up at 9:01, and I have to stay until he? I mean, that could just go on all night.
Yeah.
Right, until everyone decided they were done. And I'm not playing that game.
Yeah.
But like, I just tried to be like, put it in his mind that like, you're not entitled to stay here, in a polite way by just saying like, dude, I have plans after work.
Yeah.
You know, I have things that I'm supposed to be going to do. And he just like water off a duck's back, dude. Just didn't even give any fucks about like, basically I want to hear you say it. I want to hear you say you don't care that I have a life.
Yeah.
And you think that I should be forced to work late for your fucking sensibilities. Mm-hmm. Like, just if you could just say that, I might even entertain the idea of staying late. Yeah. If you just said it to me in those words.
Have the balls to say it.
Just be like, I don't think that you should, like, have any autonomy over your labor. I think that you basically are here to service me. Mm-hmm. And, like, I might even entertain it, like, I'm surely just one time. But, like, I might entertain it if you just had the fucking guts to just tell me that you have no fucking regard for me at all, and I'm just here to service your whims. Or
lie to me a little bit. Your dog died. That's why you need your cigar. You don't want to go home and smoke your cigar because your dog was there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be so sympathetic to that. I could at least appreciate the audacity to entertain it. I'm not saying I'd err on the side of like, yeah, sure, I'll stay. Mm-hmm. But it's like the homeless guys that you just be like, hey, man, you got some money? I'm trying to get fucking fucked up.
All right, I got money here.
Like, that's some honesty right there. Here you go. There's a couple bucks. Get yourself some whatever and just fucking leave me alone. Mm-hmm. Here, like, just, you know, I'm trying to get some crack. It's like, all right, how much does crack cost? I don't know, a couple bucks a bump. Right, but like how much, like if I just keep giving you crack, how much would that cost? Like it just give you enough crack to be satisfied. And I'll just feed you all the fucking crack just on the assurance that I'll never have to deal with you again, right? Because eventually you're going to not be around if you're a bottomless pit for crack use. It was like, how much money would it cost to just ensure that you just fucking OD on crack and I don't have to deal with you? No one has to deal with you ever again. It might be worth it. Just purge the world of a crackhead.
Yeah, the whole thing with like staying late, the whole like the poker crew back at West Coast, like closing hours, I'm ready to leave. I already worked 8 hours at this job, did another 4 or 5 here, and you expect me to stay fucking 3 more hours? It's like, guys, come on, really? Is that reasonable to you guys at all?
Well, it just goes into like, okay, well, it's the argument, well, other people do it.
Yeah,
It's
so
like, right, but you're failing to understand that that's a privilege you enjoy, not a right that you have, not an entitlement that you have.
yeah, you're not entitled to that.
Yeah. You should just be happy whenever you get it.
Yeah.
But not ever expect to get it. And that just seems to...
Oh, come on, we just started shuffling. It's like, so?
Okay. I don't care if you're...
I'll be a nice guy. You play one hand, you leave. See ya.
No, I close on time.
Yeah, I've heard, like, since I stopped working there, it's like, oh, are you going to do Mikey time or are you guys closing up, like, later?
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
Oh, closing on time, you mean?
Yeah. It's like, I don't work here, man. Do whatever you want.
Well, when I worked at West Coast, I just used to, because at Aloni, I punch a time clock. I get there, I punch a time clock. So if I do stay late, I just get paid extra. And the poker guys stopped bothering me when I just said, guys, do you realize I don't get paid extra money to stay late, right? Yeah. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, I get paid through 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Anything extra is just me being courteous. I got a girlfriend, I got a cat at home, I got reading I want to get done, and fucking like movies to watch, and like just shit to do, you know? And like, and you sitting here babysitting you guys like cuts into that time. And then like pretty much, I don't remember who I said it to. I think I said it to Bruce Santos. And you know, all things considered, he's kind of a loudmouth and he could be a little abrasive, but he's a fairly reasonable person. Yeah. And he was like, man, we didn't realize all that, dude. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, oh. And like, so then like they were like, what if we like float you an extra $40 or whatever to stay for a couple of hours? That was fine. That went on for a while. And it was like, yeah, I was like, if you guys give me extra money to stay for an hour or two, then I will consider it. And like, and would be, you know, if I don't have anything else more pressing, then, you know, I'd rather earn money, but I'm not getting paid to fucking stay here late.
This for free.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I don't do free work. I don't think you know this about me, but I don't do free work like ever. Like I just don't, it's just not a thing I do.
I'm not your friend. You don't treat me like a friend. Right. So I'm not doing you a favor.
Yeah. I come over to your house, you're going to pick up my fucking peach pits that I leave in your fucking ashtray and not say something to me like, hey man, I fucking live here. Like, pick up after yourself. I won't bite you over again. So it's like, that seemed to put the kibosh on it when I worked there. But I was like, I give my coworker, Triple B, a hard time.
Triple B.
I don't know. His name is Bob, but the thing is, I just assumed his like first, middle, and last name were all like B's, and that's but I don't think it is. Oh. I don't know how he got that nickname, but that's his nickname.
Triple B.
That's
that guy. Okay, Bob. Yeah.
He's a good dude. But he'll come in and he'll like start like doing shit. I'm like, did you clock in? And he's like, no, I was just gonna take out the garbage. I was like, dude, get paid for work. Yeah. Like, don't do free work. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you come from, but don't do free work. And he's like, oh yeah, that's a good point. You know, just like
just take advantage of
just
you.
like I'm like, just don't do free work, right? Like it's not a thing you should just ever fucking do. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, that's a good point. Oh, it was a win too. I fucking this is the first time this happened at the new shop. Jeb, we were swapping shifts, and because Triple B wanted to work. He didn't want to work tonight because he had some family plans or whatever. And so Jeb was like, well, it might just be easier for you guys to swap evening shift for day shift. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. So he sends out a text, the top text there. Seems pretty innocuous, but he called me press pass. Yeah. So I was like, oh, it's making its way over here now. Like, I never, no one there has ever called me press pass. And I was like, oh, wow, it's making its way over here.
How does he know that people call you press pass?
Oh, because when I first started working there, people kept addressing me by David, and I realized that I just don't respond to that as much anymore. Oh. Because there are other Davids that come into the shop there, and there's tons of Davids that come into the shop there, and so people will, and people have taken to calling me Dave, and I really don't respond to Dave, right? So he's like, people would be like, "Hey, Dave," and I'd be like, just like ignoring him, and I'd be like, "Hey, dude, I think he's talking to you," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" He's like, "Yeah, I was saying your name," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm just so conditioned to respond to either David or Press Pass, like I just don't."
Oh, your name Press Pass.
I was like, "Yeah, so what everybody calls me at West Coast, or either that or they call me David." And that was my polite way of being like, I don't prefer to be called Dave. Yeah. But like, apparently people just take whatever shortened version of your name is. You know how this goes. And they just truncate it. I've been trying to be better about it. And my girlfriend, she's doing, who is Mike? I'm like, Mike? She's like, don't call him that. I'm like, that's his name, though.
That was funny when we went to Netflix. All my friends were like, hey, Mike. No one calls you Mikey? He's like, no one calls me Mikey. Anyways, I think that does it for this week.
Yeah.
Got any other pressing news or stories?
No, well, nothing's ever pressing. It's press passing.
Oh. All right, that does it for this week, peoples. Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Peace.
Thanks for listening to Mikey and the Press Pass podcast. Consider subscribing. You can rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. And you can also write us with any ideas, suggestions, or horrible burning criticism at mikeyandthepresspass@gmail.com. Thank you.